I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here I cover psychological aspects of legal news. And I wanted to start with talking about the Las Vegas attack and then the judge, because the judge sentenced him yesterday. And I watched that and I really, really want to talk about it. And so let's start out with his mental health history. There are reports that he's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, and possibly some, is it prenatal or childhood? Let me pull up that information. Let me share this one. Okay, so trigger warning for anyone that hasn't seen it. So the good thing is the judge is okay. Everybody is okay. I think her law clerk sustained an injury, but everyone is okay.
The family of Deobra Redden speaking to 8 News Now after the sentencing, and they say he has struggled with mental health now for decades.
Now, even as a three-time felon, they say that Redden had just accepted a job, he signed for an apartment, and was expecting leniency.
8 News Now reporter James Schaefer here with reaction from Redden's family.
Yeah, first and foremost, the family is saying they do not condone what Redden did. They are saying, however, that his mental state was not taken into consideration before the sentencing was handed down. Redden's mother painting a picture of her son, who was getting his life together before hearing he was going back to prison.
I think when the judge says, it's time for you to get a taste of, became a trigger, and in his mind.
Redden's sister LaDonna Daniels saying that what we saw in the courtroom Wednesday was a fight or flight response.
He tried to speak for himself, which I just think he shouldn't have never been allowed to take the stand or speak on his own behalf because of his condition.
Redden's family says he was born with crack cocaine in his system, that he is schizophrenic and bipolar, pointing to those as a contributing factor to Deobra's reaction, on top of the concern that he wasn't taking his medication.
I mean, when we struggle from mental illness, it's a chemical imbalance, just as most addicts have chemical imbalances out there. Who wants to stop using, who can't.
Redden's mother, Karen Springer, says that in the end, she was heartbroken to see her son charging at the judge.
Oh my God, I went to a state of shock. You know what I mean? So it was heartbreaking, really, to see him. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's about his mental state. He just got an apartment, did everything right, was in contact with parole and probation. He was released to them in their custody. So now you said you finna send him back? What sense? In his mind, he didn't think he was going back.
Yeah, Redden's mother also told me she did speak to him multiple times over the phone since Wednesday's incident. She says he is back on his meds and appeared over the phone at least to sound a lot calmer than he did prior to the attack. Reporting from the newsroom, James Schaefer, 8 News Now.
All right. So y'all know I do general analysis here. I am not a lawyer. I do think that the judge, so often in sentencing, the defendant is given an opportunity to speak. If the lawyer knew that he was kind of on edge and that he maybe wasn't in the right state of mind, that's where maybe the lawyer might have said something. I don't think the judge did anything wrong or did anything out of the ordinary. And that's where we're going to watch the judge's actual sentencing, because
Now our team coverage continues with 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears.
That's right. And Darcy, you've been digging into Redden's criminal history here and what he told the court before all of that chaos.
Tricia, it appears that Redden is an example of how the system can fail mentally ill defendants. His attorney explained that Redden has been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. He'd been through mental health court twice amid a string of violent crimes. For the case today, he was initially charged with assault with a deadly weapon, but pled it down to attempted battery with substantial bodily harm.
Mr. Redden, is there anything you want to say on your own behalf before I pronounce sentence?
So basically, I would like to tell the courts everyone here, like, based on my criminal history, like, I feel that, like, I shouldn't be, like, sent to prison for a second time.
Have you looked at your criminal history? Have you looked at your criminal history?
I actually just, I looked at it.
When you lived it, I suppose.
I just looked at it,
Yeah.
And, you know,
3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on, sir.
yeah, I just figured, like,
Battery on a protected person, robberies, attempt home invasion.
Court records show Judge Holthus oversaw one of Redden's previous cases for malicious destruction of property that was in court as recently as October. The two have a calm and matter-of-fact exchange, with Redden telling the judge he's a changed man, even indicating that he understands she must do what she feels is right in deciding whether to send him to prison for a second time.
I just figure like I'm in a better place in my mind, my mental health. I have a support system. I just got hired as a teamster for the union, making $20 an hour. And like the reason behind every single domestic violence, I've been dealing with mental health, and I didn't know that I was dealing with mental health. And they put me in mental health court, and I still didn't know that I had a mental health problem until it was August 2022 when I realized I have a problem with this. And like having a dictionary and like understanding myself, getting to know myself a little better, and applying it to my personality, and having an epiphany at that moment, those instances, and just like trying to learn from my mistakes, and I feel like I shouldn't be sent to prison, but if it's appropriate for you, then you have to do what you have to do. But I figure that, if I'm in a better place in my life, I'm not doing drugs, I'm not out there committing crimes now, and I feel like I should be given a shot because I'm in a better place than I was, and so but that's. I'm a person who never stops trying to do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. And I just, and I'm trying, and I never give up trying to do the right thing. I know I'm not a rebellious person. I don't want to be standing there. I want you to have to, sit up there and waste your time as well.
He says he's done the best he can in light of his mental health issues. His attorney explained that the 30-year-old does not have a high school diploma and planned to pursue that while training for a new job he'd just gotten with the Teamsters, telling the judge Redden will do well on probation and is worth the risk.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
In the aftermath of the attack, panic ensues as it's clear.
And that's where I wonder if his attorney encouraged him to say those things. I have no clue if what medications he might be on. There are 2 different types of behavior. So there is behavior where a person truly snaps and it's a mental health condition. And then there is antisocial type behavior. This is not a psychological evaluation. These are just my thoughts and opinions based on seeing this information. I do not know him personally. It sounds like he has a history of violence, and he's been diagnosed with a mental health condition, and I don't know what courses of treatment he's taken, and that they had tried to resolve this in mental health court before based on this reporting. And the reason why I do this is because sometimes people are quick to go to mental health when sometimes people do the wrong thing just because they don't wanna go to jail. Like, they just now somebody that maybe is more stable, they're able to manage those thoughts, so maybe in that moment, whatever was said, and to me, I think she was just handing down her sentence, and I applaud her. So we're gonna watch her actual sentence and the things that she entered into the record to just maintain that record, but this situation, I do think it's important to note that someone can have a mental health history and then also make a decision that might not be completely now, if he says a voice told him, or I don't know what he would say in this moment for the why, but I don't want us to ignore the fact that one of the whys could be the individual just didn't wanna go to jail. That's a real thing too. Let's finish this one and then follow up with the judge's sentencing.
Here, more help is needed in the courtroom. Off camera, down on the ground behind the bench, Redden appears to be in the throes of a psychotic break, yelling unintelligibly and loudly clapping.
Okay, so that's the part that does make it look more like psychosis. And then I would just wonder what type of medications. A lot of the antipsychotics or the mood stabilizers, sometimes people don't like the way that it makes them feel, especially with bipolar disorder. Sometimes people, the mania, the kind of being on edge, like that's where sometimes people aren't consistent with their medication management. And I'd also be interested to know the type of schizophrenia, which they're not going to say because there's a paranoid type. There are individuals that hear and see things, delusions, and so I would just be interested to know more about that part. I don't think the judge did anything wrong or did anything out of the ordinary, and that's where we're going to watch the judge's actual sentencing because to me, I think she handled herself like a pro. So the first thing you're going to notice is there is a lot of security. There are a lot of people all around. He also has on one of the spit guards to make sure that he doesn't spit on it or bite anyone. And then he is fully shackled right now. And if they have a mental health unit, he'll likely receive some mental health support while he's incarcerated.
Mr. Almaci's here now. Good morning. All right, this is on for the continuation of Mr. Redden's sentencing. When we were last here, arguments were concluded and the court had begun to pronounce sentence when an incident occurred. An incident initiated by Mr. Redden, preventing the court from completing sentencing. That is the sole purpose.
This judge, like, to me, is incredibly neutral and is making sure that their own emotions don't get in the way of their sentence and how they're proceeding. I would have had difficulty, like, I don't know. And the fact that she kept the exact same sentence that she was gonna give that day, to me, I think she really upheld the system in a positive way, a system that can really be broken. To me, this judge did a really good job.
Purpose for today's hearing. Any other issues that may arise from the events that occurred last Wednesday will be handled at a future date by a different court. For purposes of the record, I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in the process of imposing last week before I was interrupted by defendant's actions. I am making my calendar page from that day an exhibit for the court. It's as it existed the moment I walked in, prior to anything happening, nothing's been changed, indicating the sentence I intended to impose. I'll let you with that for a moment. All right, that being said, in accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court does now sentence you in addition to the $25 administrative assessment fee, $150 DNA fee, the $3 DNA administrative assessment fee, and $250 indigent defense fee, 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. How much credit for time served does he have?
It's 0 days. He was on probation when he committed the offense and was revoked on probation to serve the jail time October 25th. That time it expired at about the time of the plea. So
0 days credit. Mr. Almasi, if that's different, let us know, we'll fix it.
I will.
So, mental health in no way should ever be an excuse for someone's behavior. It can help me understand. And so having watched everything. So when I came into this, I had not watched the full thing. I was not aware of his behavior after. That video is incredibly difficult to watch. And so for my own mental health, sometimes as I'm reacting to these things, I wait to watch it to give y'all a for real in the moment reaction. And so if he was acting in a way that kind of gave everyone the impression that he was in the throes of a psychotic episode. His family said that he was not on his medication. There was some prenatal substance exposure, which can impact the way that the brain works and can definitely place a person at risk for mental health conditions down the road. I do hope that he does receive some treatment, and I don't know if the court might order him to be on his medication. So in our country, mental health care is optional. So people, unless they're court ordered, they're able to decide, like, what medication do you want to be on, what do you not want to be on. Like with people's health, the courts typically don't get involved unless it's a situation where a person is a risk or a danger to themselves or someone else. And I could see in this situation, they may in the future look at court ordering him to be compliant with medication, compliant with treatment. I've worked with some people that received their medications by injection because there were issues with medication compliance, and there was other involvement that ordered that type of intervention. As with all my videos where I'm talking about mental health, individuals with a mental health diagnosis are often a greater risk to themselves and are often at risk of being victimized themselves. And just because somebody has a diagnosis does not necessarily mean that they are going to be aggressive or harmful towards others. If you all have any questions or want me to dig deeper into anything with that case, please let me know in the comments. Some questions I might just be able to answer in the comments. Some things I might need to do a short or do a full video to respond or react to. Those are my thoughts, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.